Welcome into Eye on Northeast Kansas, the podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Bruner. This is where we recap some of the top segments you saw on Eye on Northeast Kansas, the TV show. You can catch it streaming live 4 o'clock Central Time, Monday through Friday from our WIBW TV studios in Topeka, Kansas. We had a great group come in this week. Really a lot of lighthearted guests talking about community events. A circus clown was on the show, if that gives you an idea of some of the fun we had. And also some fantastic topics. Among them, a new program that the Jayhawk Area Agency on Aging is getting underway thanks to a partnership with a local church. Of course, if you are anyone who has ever had to care for someone or even just had conversations with a loved one who is experiencing memory loss or dementia, you know it can be a tough time for everyone involved. JAAA has partnered with a Topeka church to start a new program to give a little respite to the caregivers. It is going to start up in April. Before it gets off the ground, they need some volunteers. Michelle Dillon with Jayhawk Area Agency on Aging visited the studio to tell us about it. And Michelle, it is called Care for All. Explain that name, Care for All. What is the program?
Yeah, it's based on a national model that was started in Montgomery, Alabama, which is Respite for All, and we just kind of put our own spin name on it. But a lady down there decided that she needed some extra care for her mom, so they kind of developed the program off of that, and it's taken off nationwide. We've been working on it in Lawrence, and we're looking to open it up April 4th in Topeka at the Christ Lutheran Church. So it is mission-based somewhat as well.
And that is kind of the first step. You found partners in the church.
Yes.
And then what's going to happen when folks come in? Who can come in, and what will you do?
So it is for early to moderate stage folks that are suffering from some memory loss. It's Mondays and Thursdays from 10 to 2. So the caregiver would drop them off at the church. We play games, we do trivia, we have lunch together, give them some physical activities, and then the caregiver picks them up at 2. And then the caregiver gives some respite for a couple of hours.
Right. I'm sure at JAAA, Jayhawk Area Agency on Aging, you encounter a lot of people who are coming into these struggles with the time of life as they get older, and then family and friends might come to you and say, we're caring for a loved one with dementia. What do we do? What are some of the challenges in being that sort of a caregiver role that maybe are a little bit unique from other types of caregiving?
Yeah, it is unique, and I'm the caregiver support specialist there, so that's pretty much all I do is deal with the caregivers and support them. But it's a unique challenge in that every person that has dementia is one person with dementia because they all present differently. There's different challenges, there's wandering issues, there's memory issues, and there's just the patience of having to have the repeated conversations. And just being there 24/7 is very difficult, especially if it's your spouse or you're just trying to deal with the everyday struggles.
What kind of a help can just a 4-hour break twice a week mean to some people?
Oh, it means that they can go get their hair done. It means they could go grocery shopping without having to worry about someone at home or worry about them wandering through the store. It means they maybe have to go to an exercise class or a doctor's appointment. They just have time for themselves to just breathe and get their own oxygen mask,
refill the tank, so to speak,
the tank.
Right?
Yeah.
What kind of work would volunteers do, and what kind of skill or qualifications would you need to even volunteer for something like that?
So the volunteers will range from they come both days, Monday through Thursday for the whole program, and just partner with one of our friends, help them with the trivia, help them with the lunch. We play games together, balloon volleyball. Everybody wears a name tag with their first name. So we don't know who's a volunteer and who is a friend of the program, and we just have fun together. We have some volunteers who just come once a month and maybe do piano playing, or they bring their pet, or they play an instrument. Or they come for 2 hours. So it really is a range of whatever your skill set is. Maybe you're good at art or cooking or whatever that looks like, and we can find a place for you.
And so you can do one day or both days, one time a month, a couple times a month, whatever fits into your schedule as a volunteer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is some training, just so that you know how to handle the wandering and the redirection. And so when there's a trivia question, you're not answering it for them,
right?
and you're letting them be successful.
Good interactions, positive interactions is what we're looking for.
Exactly.
What kind of fees are associated with the program?
It's $40 a day for the program, which is very reasonable in the structure of things, and it's just based on if you come once a month, you're only paying for that one day, and we just bill it per month.
Okay, and how do people find out on both sides if they want to volunteer or if they perhaps want to see about getting a loved one involved in the program? A reminder, it's not going to start till early April. How do they do that?
So they're going to call me at the Jayhawk Area Agency on Aging, and my number is 785-235-1367.
Right there on the screen.
And I'm the only Michelle there, so when you ask the receptionist for me, she will send you to my extension.
All right, so there you have it. I'll get the number on our website as well, so if you can't have time to write it down right now, it will be there later for you as well. They need the volunteers now so that once you get the volunteers in place, you can really finalize how many folks you can take into the program. So more volunteers, more people helped, and again, the program itself will kick off in early April.
That's correct.
Appreciate, Michelle,
Thank
all that
you.
you're doing over there. Please do consider reaching out to Michelle if you're interested in volunteering, or even if you would like to find out more information about having a loved one take part in the program. Again, they hope to get it off the ground in early April. The Greater Topeka Partnership has a young professionals group. It is called Forge Young Talent, and they have been branching out, reaching out to people across the capital city, and also expanding their footprint across the state with some of the activities that they've had going on as well. The executive director, Rhett Flood, was in the studio to tell us what Forge is doing to forge a new path in Topeka. Welcome to you, Rhett.
Thanks for having me, Melissa.
For those who aren't familiar with Forge, what is the goal? What are you trying to do?
Yeah, so Forge, primarily we're an economic development organization, and our role in economic development is to attract and retain young talent to Topeka and Shawnee County.
Why is that young talent so important?
It's the next generation of leaders in our workforce, and we have jobs here. We need to fill those jobs, and young people can do that.
You had a great event, rallied around the legislative session. It was actually a statewide day that you brought young professionals to Topeka, and then they did what with lawmakers? And why did you take a statewide focus on that one?
Yeah, we want to show Forge as a leader in Kansas for young professionals, and so our idea was to bring other young professional groups and just young professionals in general to the Capitol so we could talk about issues that are important to our communities and young professionals in those communities.
And that's just one day.
One day.
You have something else that happens every summer. It's the Top City Interns program. How does that work? How many people can we expect to be coming into the city for the summer?
Yeah, so really the Top City Intern Program is a tool designed for employers to use to better engage their interns while they have them here in town for the summer. So last year we had about 40 companies participate and about 400 interns. And so throughout the summer it was about a 6-week program. We hosted about 5 events, anything from fun events at the Pennant to networking with local business and community leaders, and then just having some fun stuff where the interns can connect with each other and kind of picture themselves living and working in Topeka.
Well, how wide of a net does that cast, though? I mean, is this just talking about people who maybe grew up locally and so they're home for the summer for college, so they decide to intern here, or is it kind of the reverse true as well?
It's a little bit of both. I don't have the breakdown exactly now, but there were people from universities on the East Coast, universities on the West Coast, down south, and then obviously we had representation from our local regional colleges as well, so it's very wide.
Do you have any concept of how many of those interns have opted to perhaps explore Topeka as a home and maybe have done so?
Yeah, we do have some numbers on that. This year we're hoping to kind of do a better job of surveying our employers so we can capture that data better. But there was a good amount, I don't want to say the percentage without having it in front of me, but we are capturing some of those who are accepting offers or even accepting a second year of the internship with those companies. So that just gives us another opportunity to kind of keep them here in Topeka.
So it's working. So if people want to get involved in Forge, they're young professionals, how do they do that? Do they just show up an event? Do they have to register with you guys first?
Yeah, showing up is totally fine for us. Forge is a free membership, so you can go on to topekaforge.org, and there is an electronic form on there where you can sign up, and that really just signs you up for our e-news, and that keeps you up to date on our events and other events in the community that are aimed towards young professionals.
Okay, how young? How do you define young? Can I go to an event, or are you going to kick me out?
You can absolutely come to an event. We do define it 18 through 40 or young at heart. So
young at heart, there I am.
So anybody can come.
When's your next event?
It's this Friday at Wheatfield Village Apartments. We are doing kind of a kickoff, even though we've already had several events. But it's going to be a good opportunity for our new members who've joined in the last year to meet some of our kind of recurring members and more established members. So
Perfect. Well, if you want to find out more about Forge, you can go to gotopeka.com/forge-young/talent. Rhett, appreciate you bringing us
Thank you
up to
so
date on
much.
all you have going on.
Thank you. Forge
has those activities regularly, so go check them out. It's a great way to meet new people and get involved in the community. And of course, as Rhett said, young at heart are invited as well, so age is just a number. February is Heart Month. We spent a lot of time during the month of February talking about heart health, with heart disease still the #1 killer for both men and women. Of course, people still tend to ignore the symptoms. I'm talking to you, ladies. There are some unique risks for heart attack that women have, and also women are less likely to survive because we tend to ignore the symptoms for longer. Some great guests visited the studio this week from University of Kansas Health System St. Francis campus in Topeka to share their very personal motivations. Mish Abendroth is an ER nurse at St. Francis. She has quite an amazing story to tell with her medical training. Cardiologist Dr. Swapna Mamatapalli also was along to lend a little bit extra perspective to what Mish had to say. Thank you both for being here, because this is a very important message. We talk about heart health awareness, especially for women. And Mish, you are an emergency nurse.
I am.
You have worked with cardiac patients.
I have.
Okay, so tell us what happened.
So just due to life events, I kind of let my health go and started noticing some symptoms that would have, as a nurse, alerted you to get a follow-up or a checkup.
What were you feeling?
I was feeling dizzy. I was feeling short of breath. And no matter how much exercise I did, climbing all those stairs, the 8 flights of stairs to the hospital, I wasn't improving. But I thought that it was just my weight, and I just kind of ignored it. Went in and saw a doctor about it. We both kind of ignored it, and I was prescribed meclizine for my dizziness, which helped. But come May, that was in October of 2022, and come May of 23, I was having a massive heart attack. So even after my first one, on a vacation, the tightness had started, and I still ignored it. I thought it was musculoskeletal. I went back to bed and said, oh, I'm fine.
At the time on vacation, you didn't know it was a heart attack?
No, I suspected, but then it went away, and I was like, oh, it's just probably something I ate.
And then I understand it was Mother's Day last year.
It was Mother's Day. I was out in the yard working. I was lifting 60-pound bags of concrete and digging holes and building a deck, and then I got in the pool briefly and got out, and all of a sudden I felt that same pain from the week before. I was sharing with friends and family at work even that I thought I might have had a heart attack on my vacation, but I still ignored it. So yeah, still all the signs, all the things. So
yeah, doctor, when you hear what she was experiencing, so yes, what are all those red flags that are there that women in particular maybe need to pay attention to?
So we know that chest pain is a common symptom. Women may not always have chest pain. There could be atypical symptoms like what Mish is explaining, feeling dizzy, feeling extremely fatigued, tired, nausea, shortness of breath, tightness. It could be jaw pain or discomfort in the arm, upper back. All this could mean symptoms of heart attack. So it's important to recognize the symptoms and call 911 and get attention, medical attention.
Right. Sooner you get attention, the less damage perhaps that may be done.
Exactly.
Are there any unique risk factors women face as opposed to men?
So the traditional risk factors both men and women have that increase the risk are high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, smoking, family history of heart disease, being sedentary, being overweight. These increase the risk of heart disease in both men and women. But women have some unique risk factors. So having high blood pressure during pregnancy, diabetes during pregnancy, even though the blood pressures and blood sugar levels be back to normal after delivery, but still that condition increases the risk in later years. And having preterm delivery or premature menopause, and women who are taking birth control pills for long periods, that increase the risk of blood clots. And certain inflammatory conditions like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis are more common in women. That increases the risk of heart disease too.
When it comes to outcomes, why is it that women tend to have, I understand, poorer outcomes? Is it simply because we tend to ignore things? We're the caregivers, and so we just kind of brush aside when we're having trouble.
Right. So women are very strong advocates for people they take care of, for their loved ones. Now they make sure they get their care on time, they take the meds on time, and they get everything, they do everything appropriately. But when it comes to self-care, most women tend to put themselves last, and they don't take time for self-care. Studies have shown that women wait longer to get medical attention when they have symptoms.
Like through their vacation.
Their vacation.
And don't necessarily keep the follow-up or do not do the cardiac rehab after a heart attack. So therefore more women, after an initial heart attack, more women than men die within the first few years. Because
a dear friend of ours had a heart attack, and she went to rehab, and she looked around and she asked the person caring for her, why are there no other women here? And they told her, because they're all dead, because they had ignored the signs. So Mish, when you think about it now, what is the message that you hope everybody takes away from hearing about you today?
Don't ignore it and advocate for yourselves. If you believe that there is a reason for the pain, for the discomfort, don't just write it off and listen to your provider if they're downplaying it. I guess, listen to your body. And if you've got family history, you might double check and go and have that follow-up visit.
Did you have family history?
Extensive.
And what's your prognosis today? You still ignored it. What's your prognosis today, real quick?
Actually, honestly, I keep forgetting about it. I think I'm doing great.
That's good.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
You're one of the lucky ones.
Yes,
And we're
I
blessed
am.
you're still here. If you'd like to learn more about Women's Heart Health, St. Francis is sponsoring an event on Leap Day, February 29th, 5 to 6:30 at the Heart and Vascular Center at 600 Southwest College. It's free, but they do request that you register at kutopeka.com. Dr. Mamadapalli, Mish, thank you both so much. Important to hear your story, and glad that you are here to tell it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Take that story to heart, both women and men. Listen to your bodies, know your numbers, your blood pressure, cholesterol level, your blood sugars, all of those things that can help improve your odds when it comes to heart health. We also had a new documentary that is making its debut. It explores the issue of climate change. It's called Hot Times in the Heartland. Dave Kendall is the producer. Of course, Dave spent many years with KTWU in Topeka. Now he has his own production company that explores some of these stories of Northeast Kansas. Bishop Kathleen Bascom of the Episcopal Diocese of Kansas also is part of the documentary and is hosting the premiere. They visited to talk about what the documentary is all about.
Welcome to both of you. Hello. Dave, you're calling this Hot Times in the Heartland, and here I thought it was about the best block parties in the state. No, not so much.
Well, you could make it out of it what you like, I guess, and there are different ways to take it. Hot in terms of temperature is one of the ways, which we've noticed that it happens in the summertime around here, or even this time of year. It's a little hotter than normal right now for February. And so the climate is changing, and the other aspect of Hot Times is that sometimes we're going to be kind of scrambling to deal with it or get out of the way or do something to try to slow the process down or adapt to it.
What was your approach in telling this story?
Well, the idea was this is a global situation, it's a global phenomenon, and I wanted to focus on what's happening in our part of the world. So how do you localize something like this? I focused on Northeast Kansas primarily, the Kansas River Valley into Kansas City. And I just started looking around to see who was doing something connected to it. Mm-hmm. And so we started out kind of telling the science of climate change and went on from there, like what's happening, how do we know it's happening, and then what are people doing about it?
Well, you sent us a little promotional clip for it, so let's show everyone that right now.
My friend Rex Buchanan, former director of the Kansas Geological Survey, and my wife, Laura Mead, joined me to speak with a number of different people who've shared their unique perspectives on the situation we're in. Come along with us on this journey as we explore the impact of climate change on our part of the Great Plains, looking at what's being done to help deal with the challenges posed by increasing temperatures and extreme weather events. We're facing some hot times in the Heartland. You might want to sit up and take note as we hear from some of the folks most tuned in to what's happening.
And as I watch that, Dave, there are a lot of rural scenes in there and rural communities in there, but Bishop Bascom, you are featured, and Grace Cathedral's kind of right in the heart of Topeka. So what was it that you're doing that kind of caught Dave's eye?
Well, since 1860, the Episcopal Church has had property right there. We now steward 3 acres right between Topeka High School and Grace Cathedral. We spent time listening to neighbors, constituents, and people concerned about climate change, loss of biodiversity, and said, what can we do? How can we really return what's been entrusted to us, to the people of Topeka, to the creation that we believe that God has given us that is holy by its very nature. So we have put in teaching prairie, food gardens, places for meditation. It's open to the public. We want everyone to feel welcome and come. It's also a teaching center through the Episcopal Church and Anglicans even globally. We are building networks of both church-owned lands, but even more importantly, people who are working on these issues. So cattle ranchers, people with urban gardens, people working on water, to build networks, to support one another, maybe even pray for one another, and learn how to take better care.
So you are in all the different environments, and it was interesting at your Topeka garden, you actually had students in last fall to study the butterfly migration. You worked with the zoo on that.
Yes, we learned that the educational folks were our greatest partners, both in need for green space. So Meadows Elementary School, they came, I think we helped them nurture 600 caterpillars into butterflies and had a great release. We grow those kind of plants there on the property, butterfly milkweed, other things.
Nice. And Dave, what is the main message you hope people take away from this documentary, which, by the way, has its premiere on Sunday, February 25th at Grace Cathedral? What is the main thing you want them to take away from viewing this?
Well, you said the operative word is hope. You said, what do I hope people to take away? And hope is one of the big ones. It's a daunting subject, and sometimes when people find out about what's going on, it's kind of depressing, and they feel like a sense of despair. There's nothing I can do. And so we want to give people a sense, no, that's not entirely true, and there are some hopeful things, and people are doing things that are positive, and that's where people like the bishop come in.
Perfect.
Where you find out what's being done to address it.
And real quick, if they can't make it Sunday, where will they be able to see it?
There are a number of showings coming up,
Okay.
screenings coming up, and we've got them all listed on our website, which is prairiehollow.net.
We will get that link on WIBW.com as well. Thank you to both of you for coming in and filling us in. Great project. As Dave mentioned, there are a lot more viewings in store and showings as well on public television across the state. Just check out Prairie Hollow Productions, their website. He has the event calendar right there. A great historic site in Kansas is the Kaw Mission Historic Site in Council Grove. It's recently renovated, and now it is going to be hosting a new program series. Mark Brooks is the site administrator. He told us what that series of talks is all about. You had a beautiful day to drive on over.
Absolutely beautiful here in the Flint Hills.
For those who aren't familiar with the Kaw Mission Historic Site, and I'm really not as well, what does it tell the story of, and what is its significance?
Well, the building was built in 1850, and it was built as a school for the Kanze, or Kaw, the tribe that our state's named for. 1951, the state bought it and turned it into a museum, and it's been a museum ever since. Recently, in 2019, we locked the doors, emptied the building out, and did about 4 years worth of restoration work, reinterpretation of the building, and have created all new exhibits throughout the building. And our focus is westward expansion, just the same as our lecture series. The main floor is on the Kanze Native peoples. The second floor is all on the Santa Fe Trail. And the main thing, Melissa, it's free. There's no admittance charge.
And what is the significance of Council Grove's location along the Santa Fe Trail?
Very important stopping point along the Santa Fe Road, Santa Fe Trail. As travelers, immigrants, mostly Teamsters, were going west, southwest, they would stop in Council Grove. It was a great place to rest, do repairs on the wagons, and gather up into great numbers as they went on southwest and on to Santa Fe.
Well, the town is beautiful. It's a fantastic place to visit. The Hayes House is a wonderful place to eat while you are visiting the Kaw Mission, or after you visit the Kaw Mission Historic Site. Westward expansion is the focus of this series of talks. You've had a couple of them already. What do you have coming up Sunday?
We have in March 3rd, March 3rd.
March 3rd. Oh, a couple weeks, more than a week.
Yes, March 3rd is our next one, and it's on steamboats and the Santa Fe Trail, and that connection between those goods that were loaded onto wagons in the Westport Independence area and then headed on down the Santa Fe Trail.
Did steamboats actually come through Council Grove?
No.
There's like a little river creek that
we
runs
have
through
the
there.
Neosho River
Yes.
coming through there, but no. The goods would be hauled up the rivers to Westport Independence area. They would be unloaded, and then they would contract companies to take those goods from Missouri all the way to Mexico to Santa Fe.
Interesting. And Kendall Gott is your presenter?
He is. He is a noted author of multiple books on steamboats. And so I contacted him a few months ago and I said, could you do a program that would connect the Santa Fe Trail to the steamboat traffic? And he was thrilled to do it. And we look forward to that program.
As you've gone through the other topics and as you compiled this series, what were you hoping to accomplish in terms of just kind of the variety that you have coming?
Well, I have a wide stroke that I can use here because of westward expansion. How that affected not only the Anglos, the Hispanics, but the native peoples as this country pushes on west. And the Santa Fe Trail is a big part of that. And so I look for a combination of programs on native peoples and also on Anglos and Hispanics too.
It's history that we all should understand, how everybody kind of interconnected, and then the impact of that.
Correct, yeah. And our new exhibits do a great job in doing that. We have short films, we have interactives throughout the museums. We also have the Last Chance store, which is the oldest commercial building in Counts Grove, built in 1857. And we have staged that to look like a 1850s, 1860s trading post.
The talks are taking place at what location, and how is that in relation to the site itself where the museum is?
They're on Main Street, right on the Santa Fe Trail, in the dealership building, which is located, I believe, at 313 West Main Street. And they're all on the first Sundays of the month at 2 p.m., not unless noted differently on our website.
Yeah, June, July, and August are a little later in the month, I think.
Yes.
All right, well, you can find it all at their website. I have the link on WIBW.com, and just check it out. It's fantastic, and free is good. You do suggest a $3 donation if folks are able to for the presenters when you have your
Correct.
talks.
Yes, we do ask for that.
Perfect, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Fantastic to see you keeping those stories and that history
Appreciate
alive
it.
and passing it on. I did link to the full program series, One Talk a Month coming up, and you can see all of those listed on our website, WIBW.com, or just Google the Claw Mission Historic Site. Okay, we ended with something a little fun today. Topeka Civic Theater has fantastic main stage productions all the time. Another musical is coming to life. It's School of Rock. You may know it from the movie that was made famous by Jack Black. It is now a stage musical, and TCT is putting its own unique spin. Shannon Riley is the director. He visited along with Nick Nisway, who is playing Dewey in this fun show. They're here at Topeka Civic Theater because they are bringing it to the stage, and I'm so excited for this.
We are too,
So for
very much.
those who don't know the storyline, Shannon.
Storyline is of a down-and-out rocker who's just trying to find a way to make rent, who answers his roommate's telephone call and becomes a substitute teacher for a prep school. And when he finds out they're musicians, he turns them into his own private rock band.
Very
And they're
cool.
all middle school age kids. And it's really a charming, adorable story.
And charming and adorable. Are you charming and adorable, Nick, or are you down and out? Because he is Dewey, the lead character here.
I was down and out when I moved here from Hollywood, and I was a substitute teacher in 501.
Oh my goodness!
And now, thank you, Shannon.
Yeah, now
I'm
he's
charming
charming.
again.
Now you're charming again. It's like you are Dewey. You really are Dewey.
Oh, yeah, very much.
What is Dewey like, and what do you bring to the character other than it kind of mirroring you a little bit?
Dewey has a lot of bad qualities that he turns into good qualities. He's a little manipulative, kind of selfish, but through interacting with other people, he becomes selfless and self-sacrificing, and those traits, bad traits, become good traits. And it's really a great thing to observe and be a part of and feel through the character. It's fun.
Do you channel Jack Black a little bit here, or are you kind of taking a different approach?
The way the script is written, it's clearly a Jack Black-esque character,
Yes.
but it is not a caricature of Jack Black or an impersonation of Jack Black.
Very cool, very cool. You get to work with some talented youngsters. I was telling you guys before the show that I've actually seen School of Rock on Broadway.
Yeah.
And before the start of the performance, Andrew Lloyd Webber, in his very, voice, has a recording, and he says the most common question he gets asked is, are the kids really playing their instruments? And he says the answer is unequivocally yes. And so that's happening here?
That's happening here.
How did you find
bet.
the youngsters who are
They
of the
showed
students?
up. We put out the notice that we needed these kids, and they came in droves. We have an amazing band, both on and off stage. They're also accompanied by an adult band. But also, it's 15 kids. And these kids rock. I can't tell you how exciting it is to go to rehearsal every night, see their energy, participate in what they're doing. You just, every time they sing, you just want to get up and dance. So it's that kind of rock and roll musical, and it's joyous. And at the whole time, the message of the show, you have no idea of the impression you're making on these kids, because at the end, they save his character by making him feel worthwhile.
What's it like for you to work with these kids? Because you've worked in the entertainment industry, you are an entertainer, you ended up in Topeka, and now you're with these talented kids. What is it like working with them and seeing them?
It's new. I haven't worked with kids much at all, and it's fantastic. They bring so much love, enthusiasm, and talent, and it's just so magical to see this raw talent bursting out of these kids when the music starts. They get the choreography down. It's just, I love it.
And they get to be mean to a teacher. They get to say mean things to him at the top of the show. What kid doesn't want to do that, just for a little bit?
It's your whole journey, right, in a nutshell. If you'd like to see School of Rock, I tell you, it is a fun show for everybody. It starts March 1st to the 30th are the performances, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at TopekaCivicTheater.com. Get your tickets now because it will be a good one. Nick, appreciate you telling us about it. Shannon, always good to see you.
Good to see you.
It'll be worth your time to check out School of Rock all during the month of March at Topeka Civic Theater. A lot of talented people in our community. And as they mentioned, the young people you'll see in this show will rock your socks off. We had a fun time all week long. If you'd like to see the videos from these segments or from all of the guests who come through the studio on Eye on Northeast Kansas, you can find them on WIBW.com. Also on our YouTube channel. Just search WIBW 13 News. Be sure to click subscribe while you're there. I put them on my Facebook page as well, WIBW Melissa Bruner, along with our studio selfies. You can see some of the fun times we have with the guests. Glad to have you along today. Until next time, we'll see you on the Red Couch.